Hi, everybody. My name is Carissa Bowen, and I'm a senior project manager on the Learning Experience Design team at Digital Promise. And I'm happy to be moderating today's panel discussion on connecting learners with technology to design solutions for real world challenges. So thank you all for joining today. Before we begin, I want to mention that today's webinar will be recorded and shared with attendees and registrants. Please take a moment to review your Zoom controls at the bottom of your screen. As attendees, you have the ability to turn on closed captions or live transcripts, and you also have the ability to chat your responses in the chat box. As audience members, you're muted for the duration of the webinar. However, we do invite you all to engage with us in the chat box. And as you engage in the chat box, we would love to learn a little bit more about who we have in the room today. We would love to learn from you, understand where you're coming from, what brought you to the webinar today, and we just want to have the opportunity to engage with you. So throughout the session, you're welcome to ask any questions. The questions we'll try to save towards the end of the webinar, but if you want to share something exciting that you're learning from the panelists, if there's something that comes up for you, maybe something that you learned, maybe today's discussion makes you think of something. Was there something that you found unique or inspiring? Was there something that raised a question for you? So please feel free to engage with us in the chat box. We would love to learn where everyone is coming from today. If you are new to a Digital Promise webinar, here's a little bit of background on what we do. Digital Promise is a global nonprofit organization working to expand opportunities for every learner. We believe that every person can engage in powerful learning experiences that lead to a life of well-being, fulfillment, and economic mobility. The common thread throughout our projects is the commitment we have to building a future of learning that is more equitable, innovative, and powerful. And that's a lovely segue into our project that we'll be talking about today. One of our projects that we have at Digital Promise called the Ciena Solutions Challenge. The Ciena Solutions Challenge is a global design challenge that invites middle and high school students and teachers to design solutions to real problems and take actionable steps to build a better world around them. Learners that are involved in the project, either in traditional school, after school programs, libraries, etc., can design solutions to local sustainable development goal challenges, and they can submit those projects to have the opportunity to receive funding in the amount of $2,500 USD dollars to scale and sustain their ideas. In addition to the awards program, educators are invited to participate in a variety of professional learning throughout monthly webinars like this. We also have a beautiful free resource library on our website for students and educators to use throughout their challenges. We also have an additional opportunities to connect with student teams from all over the world. So that's a little bit about the Ciena Solutions Challenge, and I will make sure to share a little bit more throughout our webinar. In the last 2 years of the Ciena Solutions Challenge, we have received such innovative student projects that tackle a variety of local community issues that are meaningful to them, from improving preservation of cultural heritage through digital technologies to addressing housing and poverty issues through design. Students are really taking an initiative to create potential solutions by engaging, investigating, and taking action on their challenges by leveraging digital tools and technologies. And so today's webinar, we're really going to be talking to a dynamic group of educators and learning a little bit more about how they have been able to connect learners with technology in order for them to design solutions for real world challenges. So you all are in for a real treat today. So I would love for you to meet our panelists that we have, and I will let our panelists introduce themselves in the order that they are shown on screen. So Ani, we'll begin with you.
Hello everyone, this is Annie from Delhi, and I am working as HOD Computer Science in my school since 2007, and I have a teaching experience of more than 19 years. Basically, I am involved in training the students, teachers, and building STEM-based projects and serving my community. Not only this, I have also tried to put a mark in the field of education by empowering not only the students but also the educators with the necessary skills and the knowledge, because knowledge is something that is very critical and it is very crucial. If it is you have the knowledge and you are able to make transformation in the society, and even the students are empowered to build something new. So I believe I am training a teacher, a student, and then this is like a channel, and it is like a chain reaction that is going on. So if you train one student, that particular student is going to train the another student, and with this chain we are trying to build a culture of innovation in our school and in my society. So I basically believe in peer teaching, and this is working very good in my school. And my whole school, because the senior students, they train the junior ones, and when they further and they become alumni, they are further training they are coming down to school and training their junior students and in the school. So like this, we are building lots of projects and building lots of STEM based projects, SDG based projects in our school. So thank you.
Hello, greetings from Taiwan. My name is Suja Ashley. I'm from Taiwan. Geographically, Taiwan is an island surrounded by the ocean, and that is one of the reasons why my students address the issue of marine debris, and they started their project called Guarding the Ocean, innovating an interception device to protect life below water. Basically, their innovation was an interception device that could be placed on the river, and they hoped that their device could stop the garbage from getting into the ocean through the river. And some information about my school. I work in affiliated senior high school of National Kaohsiung Normal University. I'm an English teacher, but my role in my students' project is like a facilitator. I did not make things happen. My student did. My students were the ones that make things happen. I was there to guide them through the project. So that was my role there. And one of the features of our school is that we encourage students to participate in all kinds of extracurricular activities, sports, school clubs, and student-initiated projects. And we have a school-based course, which involves students in self-initiated projects in which they have to come up with an action plan to improve an aspect of life in terms of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So generally, our school focuses not only on students' academic performance, but also their social participation, how they could apply what they learned in the classroom to real-world application. I'm very happy to be here to share my experience with Ciena Solutions Challenge. I believe that participating in this project, in this event, is quite worthwhile both for me and for my students. And I hope that my sharing can help those teachers who are interested in participating in the coming future. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ciena Nur. I'm from Kazakhstan. I live in a city located at the heart of the country. It is called Karaganda. My city is famous for its coal mining, and I'm proud of it, but this also creates air pollution. And we also have another issue, which is littering. So with our students, we focused on littering. And if I talk about my school, about my students, I teach English as a foreign language at Nazarbayev Intellectual School of Chemistry and Biology. It is one of the 20 schools established across all the regions of the country. For enrollment, students have to take some exams. So this is very highly selective school, and students usually enroll after 6th grade. The school curriculum focuses on in-depth study of science subjects, and our students participate in various science projects, and also there are a wide range of extracurricular activities and volunteering projects. So we have, for example, the project that is called Bridge of Kindness, and our students they usually organize various campaigns like cleanup campaigns or to help nature. Also, recently they raised money to help homeless animals, especially stray cats. They raised money by collecting bottle caps. So with my students, they decided to create flashcards that about littering, and these flashcards are visually appealing, and they used these flashcards to teach children from orphanage about littering and plastic pollution. And they were very motivated. They are motivated to help support young children. My students learned to be responsible for their own learning, for their own project. And I'm very grateful for Ciena Solutions because this award helps my students, supports my students, helps my students to sustain the project. Yes, currently they're working on improving and creating videos to integrate into their flashcards. So thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, all of you, for your wonderful introductions. And we can't wait to hear a little bit more about how your students have integrated technology in a creative way throughout their Ciena Solutions Challenge projects. So Ani, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about how you were able to support student creativity and innovation. And so your students that participated in the Ana Rakshak project, their goal was to address how they can protect the spoilage of food grains in stores by creating a prototype of a sensor that will monitor the level of gases and humidity that is being released from food over time. And this is a real, a real world experience. This is a real world challenge. And so I'm curious to know about how your students responded to using technology or leveraging technology, and what encouraged them to integrate this level of technology in their solution.
So I would first of all like to thank Ciena Challenge, because this is only because of Ciena Challenge my students started working for innovations and looking for different types of problems in the community and the society, and started building and working on it. So basically, when you see this project, Anna Rakshak, it looks like it is a big project. So many things have been done. And in my school, I would like to thank my school because in our school, we are having a well-devoted tinkering lab where students from grade 6 to 12 are being trained on different types of sensors, controllers like Arduino, Raspberry Pi. And because of this training, what I think that what happens that there are so many problems that are prevalent in our society. Once you don't have the knowledge, then you see that, okay, this is a problem. You feel like there should be someone who is going to solve this problem. But when you have a knowledge how to solve that problem, then it comes from your within that you need to, you can solve that problem when you are into it. So in India, we say that there is a saying that avashakta avishkar ki janani hai. Now, this is a statement that is this simply means in English that when there is a need, then only we go for discovering something. When there was a need of traveling from one place to another, then only the wheel was discovered. So like that, when you have the requirement, when there is a need, then only you can discover. But for discovering also, you need some training. So for training, what sort of training? So in this tinkering lab, there is a training being imparted on all the different types of resources, all the different types of open resources that are already available in in our education system. And there are so many different types of sensors, controllers. So by using the knowledge of those students, when they were now looking into when they saw their friends sufferings, or they could see the problems that was there in their society, they started thinking of building the project. Since India is a very big country with a very big population, so there is a requirement of food grains. No doubt, we are very good producer of different types of grains, but storage was a problem. Now storage is actually a problem because we need to store those grains that was produced. So when children saw this problem, they read so many research articles, but they thought that, okay, we are producing, but why there is then scarcity of food grains throughout the world when we are so good producer of the grains? So they thought of some solution that could help to store these food grains. Now, after doing lots of research, they understood that there are so many different types of sensors that are available. By using those sensors, the knowledge of sensors, they learned how to do 3D printing, because when you see the the prototype, that is well packed that is a very good packing is being done, that prototype. How it is possible? Because they learned the technology to create that boxes where they could put the Arduino, they could install the sensors and all, they could do welding, they could do soldering, everything they were able to do it, because these all training is already being given to them in the tinkering lab. And when they started, by seeing all the different sensors, they understood that, okay, there are different types of gases that are being released, and for each of the gases they need one or the other sensors to be installed. And this prototype, when they had built, they understood that no, it is like it is in a development phase. When they had built initially, it was not a good prototype. So what happened? They started innovating, researching. So what all different types of sensors they could change in the prototype, so that they could build a prototype that is very cheap as well as it is very cost effective, so that farmers, those who are not they are not rich and they could not get the resources. See, there are resources that are already available in the market, but they were very costly thing, so they couldn't use it. Because of that, their grains got spoiled. So, and they were not able to get the benefit of their agriculture produce. So this prototype the children have built, this is very cheap, that could be very easily used by the farmers who are not they are not well versed and they are not economically sound. So they could use this prototype in their granaries, and they could. And so this is basically a prototype that is not for a very big granary, but for small farmers whose produce was not so big. So like using, and even they use the services of AI, which help them to this. When you go through the whole documentation is already available as a resources in the already Carissa has already mentioned, it is there. When you go through it, it says that when when whatever gases were released, when they were just storing the gases, now it was like it is like a remotely maintained, and because the data is being sent on cloud, and with the cloud it is being mapped with a website where anyone who is sitting outside, because no one can sit inside the granary all the time, so when they were sitting outside, they could see the changes, and an alarm was being raised, so that someone can go to the granary, and if there is some problem, that problem can be sorted out. Even the gases are being flushed for like first aid type of thing is also happening with this product, with this prototype. So this all happened because innovation is something that I think that for that there are so many problems. You need to look into the problem, go into detail, do research, study a lot, then only you would be able to solve that problem. This I think, and this because Ciena challenge is this is a challenge that is not a one-day challenge. You need to go through it. There's lots of time being given to the student who can research, ideate, and finally you get time, and there is lots of webinars are being conducted. The help is being provided. So because this is a challenge that I could see, this is the only challenge where training is being imparted to the student, and because of that training, students are able to think and ideate and solve the problem. So we always get some competitions where you are being asked to build something where no training is being imparted, no help is being provided. But this is the beauty of this challenge, where training is also so many webinars, so many blogs, so many things are being there for resources are there for the students that give help to other students who can participate. So very beautiful competition, very beautifully planned competition that has helped my student to ideate and build. So because of this, students at my school have built lots of projects, different types of projects, and they could build very good projects that could help the society and the community further. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Ani. That's wonderful. It's so cool to see how your students were able to take such a significant challenge and turn it into something that can be so helpful to so many people in your community. So thank you. So our next question is for Shusha Ashley. So Shusha or Ashley, your students addressed the issue of marine debris found in large masses of water. And this severity of pollution in water can sometimes probably feel somewhat distant from the community or distant from, from students. And so I wonder how you were able to encourage students to become decision makers and leaders, and how were you able to help them become invested in this real world issue in a way that resonates with them? Can you talk to us a little bit about the activities that your students participated in that helped them to learn in practical contexts, and how do these experiences sort of help connect students to technology?
Thank you for asking. It is true that the issue of marine pollution may sound distant from our students' point of view, but Taiwan is actually an island surrounded by the ocean. So what we teachers can do is to direct our students' attention to some real world problems. So in my class, I had my students engage in an activity called community walk, which allows students to walk around the community they live in and observe local people's needs, to observe existing problems that trouble the local community, and also interview with the local residents to discover what troubles them and what their expectation of living in that community is, and is there anything that they desire to change. So after this community walk, the students will go back to school and have a discussion with their teammates and brainstorm for possible solutions to the problems they have observed. And this group of students in their community walk, they noticed that there was much more trash on the beach than they could have imagined. So what they did was that they set out to clean the trash on the beach manually in the very beginning. They went beach cleaning with their trash bags, gloves, tongs, but later they realized that it was not efficient enough. So they realized that they needed more efficient ways to help them with marine garbage. So they started to brainstorm for better solutions. They analyzed the causes of marine debris and concluded that most marine debris came from land through river. So they started to brainstorm for solutions to prevent river trash from getting into the ocean. And that was how they came up with the idea of their intersection zones. But to create a design that could float on the river and prevent trash from getting into the ocean is actually very challenging for our students. Firstly, they just came up with the general idea that they wanted to create something that could help stop the trash from getting to the ocean. But the question was, how they could create that device. And that's where technology came in for help. After brainstorming for the solutions and discussion, our students decided to use laser cutters and 3D printing machines to create their devices, because we have a lab on campus, and every student can get access to that lab, and they all know how to use 3D printing machines and laser cutters. So I think it is quite helpful to provide students with necessary training to the technology that they have access to. And another event that worth mentioning is that when our student completed their first prototype, we had an online conference with some Japanese students from senior high school attached to Osaka Kyoku University. And they got some feedback from Japanese students. And the group of Japanese students commented that although they generally thought the device might be great help, but they were also concerned that the plastic materials used to make our interception devices may also cause pollution because it's made of plastics. So our students brainstormed again, and they revised their prototype. They did some research online, and they try to use more biodegradable plastics. And in their second prototype, they changed the design to make it easier to be folded. So you can see in the photo, that the interception device can be collected easily and more frequently, and that it would not be left unattended on the river for too long. And again, this time, laser cutters came in great help again. So overall, I would say that encouraging students to make good use of the resources available on campus and giving them enough opportunity to showcase their ideas and innovations, and getting feedbacks from other students are all very helpful in motivating them to use technology to serve their purpose in the project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I think that's a great point. And how cool is it for your students to have thought, have the wherewithal and the leadership to really kind of take themselves out of the equation and look more deeply into the resources that they have existing at their school to leverage. So that's amazing. Thank you. So Zananor, with our final question for you, I would love to learn a little bit more about how you were able to integrate real world learning in your classroom. So your students chose to address the impacts of pollution in the community. And I found it interesting that they decided to educate younger students, or the younger generation, on this very important topic through flashcards. I really appreciate how your students made a conscious decision to educate their community on this topic locally, from investigating a pollution center via a field trip to developing flashcards via Canva. I wonder how these activities encourage students to become leaders and decision makers. Can you share a little bit more about how your students leverage technology, and how the technology helped utilize their projects and leveraging their ideas?
Okay, thanks for your question, Carissa. Students have chosen the problem of littering since it really concerns them a lot. They see many people in parks or neighborhoods throwing the trash. So students wanted to be part of this solution. They did literature review using some credible sources, and they found out several reasons why people litter. So one of the reasons was that people litter because of lack of awareness, lack of education. So students decided to conduct their own research. So they used SurveyMonkey to to conduct surveys among 7th grade students, because they were in our school, we 7th grade students are the youngest one. So they conducted their surveys, they analyzed the data, and they were surprised to find out that many 7th grade students didn't know much about plastic pollution and were not aware of negative effects of their behavior on nature. we're talking about here littering. So the students also conducted some interviews in their neighborhood, and they actually decided to educate young children, especially kindergarten children, children from kindergarten and primary school, by creating flashcards. So students decided to use Canva platform. This is online graphic design platform. They were actually encouraged by the idea that they could make a difference difference in their community by educating young children. And the motivation for creating flashcards has also been driven by the fact that there are not sufficient resources for young children on littering, on plastic pollution in the Kazakh language, because much information is in English, and people may not have access to this information, to the information in English. So students, this idea inspired them to be kind of a trailblazers among students who will create educational visual tools for kids in the local language. So they started their journey by using the Canva website platform, and they were eighth grade students themselves. They were, when they made their decision to act and teach about littering. And this application was quite user-friendly for them. The flashcards had mostly like images and tasks for learners with 3 levels. So the first level was to match things made of plastic, paper, for example, or other materials. And another level asked to categorize trash that can be recycled, reduced, or reused. So students used Canva, and they learned how to design. They used ready-made templates. However, they thought that they need to improve their flashcards by integrating some videos, and they used QR codes, which contain short videos about different topics, like as we said, littering, plastic pollution, how to reduce plastic pollution by doing like 3 actions: reduce, recycle, reuse. And after watching these videos, these short videos, young children are expected to complete the tasks on the other side of a flashcard. So, we can see here that students, they started using simple, it's not simple, but still very user-friendly Canva website, and they become creators of their own videos, which of course requires a lot of thinking, a lot of creating first scenario and then integrating it into videos.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Zananor. I think with just using the tool Canva, some of us might be familiar with it, but it's awesome that your students kind of had the thought process to create a visual aid that will, again, be able to educate the younger generation, which, you know, we want to continue to promote within learning overall, I think. So I think that's amazing. So we have an opportunity for a little bit of an open discussion for all of the panelists. And so each project addresses the need for solutions that will improve the environment. So whether that be educating the community about proper ways to take care of the environment, preventing garbage from entering large masses of water that is used by others, and finding ways to protect and maintain food grains so they won't spoil, you know, each of these projects kind of tackles a little bit of how we can improve the environment overall. And so I'd love to learn from each of you, how did your students decide, you know, what pieces of technology were helpful in addressing their challenges? What were sort of their steps to kind of help them to that point?
Okay, I'll go first. My experience was that once the students figure out their goals, once they figure out what they want to achieve, they would work very hard to achieve that goal because they had already had the big picture in of their final product in their mind. So they could choose a tech. In that case, they would choose a technology that work for them. And what we teachers had to do was to offer them some directions and offer them resources that they could use. For example, in my students' project, they wanted to build a huge water tank for the experiment. So, and they wanted to use 3D printing machines to make some gadget. Since they knew their goal, they tried everything that they could achieve, that they could get access to. They researched how to draw better on AutoCAD, which is the software for operating 3D machines. And they discuss and brainstorm for the structure of their water tank. And like what we could see in this photo, our student RT wanted to make their interception device foldable so that it could be collected easily and would be left and would not be left unattended on the river. And the group of students brainstormed and discussed how to make it easier to be folded. Finally, they got inspiration from the Japanese paper art and used laser cutters to create their foldable device. So I think the key is to have them realize what their goals are and provide them with possible resources they could access, and then they could choose the technology that serves their purpose. Thank you.
Yes, actually what happened when in our project, when children understood that they wanted to build a prototype for so that they can save the storage, the grains that are being stored in the granaries. So what happened, they need to understand that which particular sensor is going to help them. And finally, when they came out with the idea that, okay, this particular sensor is going to help them, then they need to understand that how to program the Arduino, how they can collect the data. And also they wanted a panel that could be installed on the whole prototype, so that by just looking at the panel, they could understand that what is the level of the gases that are being released, and if it is going to go beyond the optimum level. So they not only wanted that the descriptions would be shown on the project, but also they wanted it to be displayed on the website. So they learned how to send the data from the prototype on a website through via cloud. They had used ThinkSpeak Cloud, so they learned how to do it. And say they had actually ideated with lots of different types of facilities, like different types of cloud services. Then finally they came up with the idea that they need to use the ThinkSpeak Cloud, and how they can send it to there, and the website that they had built in the end. Because I told them that, okay, you have built the prototype. Now if someone is not in the granary, so during working hours, it's very easy to monitor. But what about if the problem is happening beyond the working hours, then how they are going to check it? For that, they had built a website. Now for building the website, again, they had learned from the basic that how to build a website, how to transfer the data, how to whatever was collected in the cloud, how to display those things on their website. Even they had tried to build a mobile app that was handy, and they could check it whenever they wish on their phone. So these type of things they had learned how to during the whole process of development. And it is not only a day, now it is like it is improvising. They are improvising that product. And once they have built, it was very raw. That time they have just built the prototype. Now they had done the packaging. They learned how to use Tinkercad, and then use the 3D printer to make the packaging of that product. Because once you do the packaging of any product that looks like something, then it converts from a prototype to a product that gives a feeling of the product. So they wanted something to go into the market, so that they can so they basically, they not only wanted that their idea should remain an idea, they wanted their idea to get converted to product. So it was a whole entrepreneur journey that they wanted to build with this product.
Okay, so with my students, if we talk about pieces of technology, so of course we use laptops, phones. So they first used laptops to create their survey questions, and they used, as I mentioned before, SurveyMonkey, and most of the time students worked actually distantly, because during weekdays they have classes, they have exams, so they're busy at school, and they spend their time at the weekends. So they spend their time on the project by working distantly, and they used Google Doc. This is something that they didn't try before. So for the purpose of this project, they decided to work at the weekends, I mean on Saturdays. So they used Google Doc to collaborate with each other. And as I said, we students decided to use Canva platform, online platform. There were some restrictions. They didn't have access to maybe more advanced templates, but anyway, they learned to adjust the ready-made templates on the platform, and actually they created their own images using Adobe. So then they decided to create videos, and in order to create high quality videos for flashcards, they first they thought that it was an easy task. Of course, creating 1 minute videos was not an easy task. So they first learned to write scripts for their video productions, and it was still challenging for them to shoot high quality videos. So they negotiated with their peers and asked them to help and teach filming, because there are some students who are very good at filming or creating fascinating videos. So these students, they were girls. I don't want to be gender discrimination, but they thought that they couldn't actually create videos and work with technology. But by collaborating with their peers, they learned, they actually become very confident about their ability to create videos, to edit them, to cut, to create this transition between short scenes. So they also divided their roles as a scriptwriter, filmmaker, content creator. So I think this project actually teaches students to be a lot of like wide range of skills, life skills, as to produce, to collaborate with others, and be very active, proactive in their actions.
That's wonderful. That's such a great segue into our chat. So I know there's probably lots of questions that you all have for one another in learning a little bit more about each of your techniques or your lessons. So we have a few minutes put to the side for a panelist chat. And I know that you all have maybe one question that you would like to ask further to your co-panelists. So we can start with whoever would like to go first on in this section.
I have a question for both my colleagues. So what was your role in developing the solutions of this challenge? How much percent maybe, or maybe if you can somehow calculate your role, because in my culture it's difficult to make students to be independent, but we are learning, and they are learning to be more like self-initiated, self-motivated. They are motivated, but when it comes to taking actions, they rely much on teachers' support, and my aim is to make them to become more autonomous and to become independent in taking decisions. So what was your role? How did you guide your students to become leaders, to become independent?
That is
Uh,
a question.
okay.
Ani, you want to go first?
No issues. Okay. See, when we talk about the role, so we as an educator, we are also learning every day from the students, because students are about using of the technology and they are more means advanced than us. So they understand the things far easier than we. But as an educator, we can help them to mobilize the resources, to get them make them available the resources so that they can use it. And also we need to look see, in the school there is scholastic and co-scholastic, everything is going on together. So when they are building such type of projects, and then we need to look into that they are not left behind in their regular whatever is going on in their classes. So those all things also we need to look into it, how whatever is going on into their classes when they are working in the labs, but naturally they are missing their regular classes. So we need to look that they are getting help for those things also. If any child is going to miss out, then he or she will never participate in this type of challenges. So we need to make a ecosystem in such a manner that not only this, but also they are not left behind with the scholastic. So I am trying to do that for the student. I try to maintain that ecosystem so that other teachers also help them when they have missed out, and they get support, required support from other teachers also.
Yeah, and I think my role in my students' project is like a facilitator. Just like what I mentioned before, I did not make things happen. They made things happen, and I was just there to help them, maybe give them some directions and help them solve some problem. But I did not solve the problem for them. I provide them with resources that they could use on campus. So I think for my role, because I'm an English teacher, of course, I give them some language support when they need oral presentation on some occasions, like I organize their conference with some Japanese students, and when they need language skills to give presentation, I came in help. But most of the time they needed to be on their own, like they drew better than me on AutoCAD. I know how to operate 3D machines, but they did better than me. They knew how to operate it better than me. So I think we kind of learned together, and I had to admit that they were better than me. And I think that's the essence of projects. That is, the projects allow students to make their own progress, and the projects allow students to the projects gave them an opportunity to showcase their efforts and their talents, and showcase what they could achieve. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing these wonderful, useful insights.
And I am curious about following your questions. I'm curious about how do you inspire students in the projects? Like Annie told us earlier that her students use cheaper sensor because they took into consideration that most of the farmers need cheaper sensors. I think that was something very amazing, because teenagers normally they could not consider these aspects. So I wonder how did you inspire students in their projects?
See what happened. I told you that for inspiration, like recently, my school also received the School of Innovation Award. So what happens? We rightly in our school from grade 4th only, every child is being told that you look for some problem that you see into your society. Like, for example, children came up with very beautiful problems. Now you have to first of all look into the different types of problems. Teacher in my school, a school is actually a very big place. She always used to forget her water bottle in any of the classroom. Now this is a normal problem. For searching our phone, we dial and we search where it is kept in the house or anywhere. But how to search that bottle? Now it was a problem. Now children came up with idea. Ma'am, see, this is a problem with the language teacher. She always forgets the her water bottle, and she asks us to search where I have kept. So these type of problems is generally very small problems. Now, if they start thinking of these type of general problems, they need to list down all the problems. Now, when we asked students from grade 4 to 12 to list down the problem, we were able to list down at least 900 problems. A group of students, they had written 900 problems, and I have a list of all the problems. Now, after writing the problem, there are few problems that you would be able to solve, but few problems we won't be able to solve. So, like, first phase should be always writing down the problems that you observe. When you're going from your home to school, there are certain pits on the road. So this is again a problem. Can you imagine of what problem? So we ask the students to think of the problems first. Then the second stage, whether it can be solved or not. What do we have the resources to solve that problem, to build something to solve that problem or not? So this way we go on in our school. So right from grade 4, we ask the students to think for problems, and then ideation, and then further building of the prototype. So building of the prototype is actually in the end, but thinking, ideation, it starts in the beginning.
Thank you. That's insightful. Thank you.
Do you want me also to answer this question? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I think how to inspire. So I think the words are powerful. Encouraging them with your words, telling them that you're making a difference, you are the first. Because as I said, that we don't have much, we don't have enough resources in Kazakh language. That's a problem. Because our language, the Russian language, was the dominant language for 70 years, and many resources are in Russian. And Kazakh language could almost could have died out could die out. But thanks to our independence that we gained 30 years ago, many things are coming back. So we are kind of trying to recover and create many content in Kazakh language. So they knew that my students knew that if they create these flashcards in Kazakh language, visually appealing flashcards, then they will be the first trailblazers in creating this. Another inspiration is was field trips. Students creating real life, connection with real life. It wasn't just flashcards that mattered, but that they could go and actually interact with community, see children in the orphanage. In this case, we visited orphanage, but we are planning to visit kindergarten. We are right now working on production of beautiful, really high quality flashcards, and we are planning to visit kindergartens, play with children, and have some funny lessons on education or environment. So this inspires them because they, and also another important thing is consider time. Yeah, students get tired. We have, as I said, our school is very selective. There's a competitive, curriculum, and they have to prepare for exams. I can see that they are tired after classes. So we decided to have meeting on Saturdays morning, 1 hour, 2 hours, when there's nobody at school. There's a total silence. We only students have coffee, discuss our ideas. That inspired them because they felt relaxed, motivated to share data. So we need to create conditions, as Annie said already, yes, conditions where students are able to generate new ideas.
Thank you. I think for we educator, it is not that what we did that inspired them. It is the opportunities that they have that give the inspiration. Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. Thank you.
One more thing, what I think that for ideation, there is also a need of collaboration. It is like if we are having a problem, it might not be a problem for someone else. They might be having a solution for that. So it is like if we collaborate throughout the world, if we are collaborating, then children at my school will be empowered with the knowledge that someone else is having, and they would get the benefit of what we are. So sharing, collaboration, this is something that should go on, and it would be very good because we at our school, we are also trying to collaborate with other schools, not only nationwide but also with other schools throughout the globe, so that like whatever things, whatever knowledge we are having. And even there is one more thing that we are trying to do. We are collaborating with we are schools, so we are collaborating with universities, because university is they have more knowledge, so they can help the student, help our students, mentoring our students, so that they can our students can improvise their product, whatever is the idea, whether that idea can be converted to a prototype. This also mentoring, many a times it helps them to do it. So this has also helped because we are collaborating with 2-3 universities also for that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was such a lovely panelist chat, and I wish we could spend more time on this, but we are a little crunched, and I want to make sure that we have one more question actually in the chat box that I think all of you might be able to answer. It's coming from Mohan from India, I believe. So thank you for this question. He asks, how did you manage timetable to help students to make extended use of technological tools like a 3D printer in the case of I believe, Ashley, did you mention that your students used a 3D printer? I'm not sure, Ani, if you use that as well, or in the case of a video editing, in the case of Zananor. So just like one final kind of wrap up, if you want to all kind of share a little bit of your technique on time, because that is such a significant part of this challenge and your work as an educator.
I can tell this problem because in India we have this problem because we have a very big scholastic syllabus. We have like from grade 6 to we have 3 languages that children do. It is like English, Hindi, the mother tongue, and one more language, the foreign language or Sanskrit. Like 3 language children they need to do. Out of beyond this, they need to do English, math, sciences, and social studies. Social studies is again subdivided into 3 subjects. So it is like altogether, if you look into 7 to 9 subjects are there. And beyond this, the timetable is actually very jam-packed. So that only he is talking about. So how to give the students? So in our timetable, we always have a 0 period. In every school in India, either it is either in the morning or in the end. So in our school, we have that 0 period in the morning. And as well as in our timetable, we have a library period where that is a reading period where children go to the library for reading. So what we have done in the library period, we have the students, those who are willing to join the tinkering lab, they go to the tinkering lab and the rest of the students go to the library. And like this, it is a switchover. Like few students go to the library and few students go to the tinkering lab. This way they are learning the new technologies in the tinkering lab. And in the 0 period also we have devoted days for different classes. So one of the day like grade 6 will go, second day we have. So we cannot train whole school. We should never go for training the whole school or whole grade. Instead, you can just think of the students who are, see, every student cannot go into becoming an entrepreneur. This is our, as an educator, this is our mindset that every student should become entrepreneur. This is not ecosystem. So there are students who can become entrepreneur. So those students only we need to look into the whole crowd, that who all are the students who would like to go for ideation, who would like to learn the technology. Every few students might be very good into artists. Few students would like to languages, literature. So everyone is not a technology person. So we need to find out who all are those students, and only these students could be trained. So this is the basic problem. We also had this problem. We try to train all the students of the class, but when we found that when we are bringing all the students to the tinkering lab, few students are not at all means they are not loving to learn those things. Instead, they are good into dancing, they are good into drawing. So we should not take that skill from those students. It is inborn skill. So better, first of all, pull out those students, search for the students who are willing to do this, and then we can, and then we will be having handful of students who can be trained. So if we are going to do that, then it will be somewhat very manageable in the school.
As I said before, we have during the week we have classes. Of course, time is really precious. Our school starts at 8 o'clock and finishes at, the last lesson finishes at 4:30 p.m. Can you imagine? During this time, students have core subjects, academic pressure. Yes, they take exams. They come exhausted after classes. I see that. That's why we decided to have these meetings on Saturdays. And Ciena Solutions, actually, I really like this project for allowing educators to take their time and to realize this project during the year. So it's not just 1 month, it's not just 2 months. We actually started our project in summer. So during summertime, it's perfect time, especially when we talk about littering, the environment, climate also, the weather. Yes, when it's sunny, you want to talk about littering. You want to do some cleanup campaigns. When it's cold, everyone forgets about littering, especially when there's snow. So everything remains on the snow. Yes, all litter. So the summer is perfect time. And my advice, if anyone wants to participate in this project, you could start maybe summertime when students, I know they need to relax, so maybe they could realize some ideas during this time. But during the school year, they should be ready to sacrifice 1-2 hours on Saturdays. I know Saturdays is off, but in our case, we decided to have 1-2 hours in the morning with fresh head, fresh mind, yes, to discuss, to do something during this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Samanor, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I've seen this chat, like you have longer time. That's good. Well, it depends. Like, it's good for whom? For students, we need to ask students' opinion. Yeah, studying from the morning till the almost like evening, it's challenging. Yeah. If they have spent some time on creative things, that's perfect. But most of the times they study. It's a bit challenging. Yeah, there's much pressure on academic performance, exams.
Well, thank you so much. You all have such a wealth of experience and knowledge that you were able to share with us during this time. And we really, really appreciate all of the reflections that you were able to share with us during this time, and how amazing your students must feel to have such supportive educators like you all to kind of guide them and facilitate this experience with them. And we really appreciate just your time that you've spent with us. So thank you so much. Before we end today, I just want to amplify this opportunity that we have. You heard a little bit about everyone's experiences, and I think it's great that we have such a unique set of educators to kind of share their experience and submitting their students' projects to the Sustainability Award program that we have going on within the challenge. And so, like I mentioned earlier, the Ciena Solutions Challenge Sustainability Award program really provides students with an opportunity to submit their challenge for a $2,500 to be considered for a $2,500 award that ideally will help them to sustain and scale their projects. And so we have an office hour coming up on December the 14th. This office hour is a very informal meeting designed for educators who plan to submit projects or want to learn more about the challenge. If you're new to learning about the challenge, if this is your first time and you just kind of want to learn a little bit more about how you can get involved or how maybe your colleagues can get involved or someone from your school or program, we invite you to ask questions, as many as you'd like. We will have members of the Ciena Challenge team to join, and you can also connect with other peer educators like these lovely educators that we have on today. And we encourage you to share your questions in advance when registering. If you're unable to attend, we'll be sure to answer your question live and share the recording of this meeting. So this is available on our website, but I'm also going to share the registration in the chat box if you would like to register for this office hour. So feel free to join if you just want to connect with me or with someone else on the call and you just want to listen in a little bit more. I'll be sharing some details of how to submit a project and how to ideally kind of be involved in this great opportunity. So again, I just want to thank everyone for joining today. This was such a breath of fresh air for us, listening to each of these very unique stories. And I think I just want to, just kind of double down on this idea of technology and connecting learners to technology. Zananur, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you mentioned the importance of accessibility to this type of technology or to technologies for your learners. I think that each of you have a very great way of facilitating kind of and getting your students connected with technology. And I think it's important for everyone to remember that, within this challenge, we don't ask or expect educators or students to use the most expensive piece of technology or the most, largest piece of technology. Hope that you all will use technology that is accessible for you and for your students and something that they feel empowered to use, something that they feel that will enhance their projects. And so thank you all for sharing your feedback on this. So before we end today, I just would like to invite everyone on the call to please fill out our survey. We try to improve our webinars whenever we get your feedback. It's very helpful for our team to know how we're doing. So if you have an opportunity, if you have about a minute or so to share your feedback, please, you can use the QR code if that's easier for you, or I just shared the link to the survey in the chat box. So we are also offering certificates of attendance to attendees who complete the post-webinar survey. So if that is of interest to you, we do invite you to complete the survey and we will send you a certificate once you have completed the survey. And finally, if you are interested in joining our next webinar, we will focus on helping students design sustainable and scalable solutions. And we'll have another set of educators from different parts of the world that will share how they have helped their students to sustain and scale their solutions to essentially kind of take their projects beyond what they had originally designed. And so you'll listen to past awardees kind of share how they, some of their tips and techniques on sustaining or helping their students to think of sustaining and sustainability and scalability amongst their projects. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to register for the Ciena Solutions Challenge on our website. We invite you to register to the challenge. Once you are registered, you are added to our biweekly newsletter. And this will help you stay informed about any updates, any more opportunities that we have coming up around the challenge, any more professional monthly kind of learnings for you educators or trainings for educators that we offer. If you have any questions, you are welcome to email us at sienachallenge@digitalpromise.org. If you have something more specific that you'd like to ask, a member of our team will get back to you as soon as possible. And so again, I'd like to thank you all for joining today. Thank you to our wonderful speakers today. We really appreciate your experience and your reflections, and your students are very lucky to have you all as their educator. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Carissa. Thanks a lot for your support. We are very grateful for Ciena Solutions Award and for you, particularly Carissa, for supporting us throughout this journey. And I'm very grateful. We are very lucky to be the winners, and we are very lucky to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. It was a great talking to all of you and learning so many things about what other educators are doing throughout the world. So it also helped me to change, understand that. So it is very difficult for everyone how to manage, and so it's like we think that we are doing something very great, but there are so many people who are doing so great, and we need to learn from each other. So thank you, all of you. Thank you,
all,
Carissa.
and Carissa and the panelists. I really learned a lot today. And I hope that the participants for Ciena Solution Challenge will be more in the coming year. Yeah, I hope that this seminar and this webinar can provide them enough information.
Yeah, sorry, I also want to say it was so nice to meet wonderful educators. Thank you very much, Annie. And sorry, Chusia. Yes, can you say your name? Yeah. My name is Ciena Nur, and it's also difficult to pronounce, but I'm very, very grateful. And I'm very I'm excited to have met such wonderful people. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Carissa.
Take care. Have a good one. Thanks,
You too.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.